these events, we always encourage participation. It's not just about somebody coming up here and telling you a bunch of things and you go away and that's it. Please, I encourage you, and even after the event, to continue networking. It's events like this where we can come together and discuss. So about HR Strategy Forum, I sometimes like to call us the best kept secret. It's not something that everybody knows, but then once you know it, you're like, okay, I know it. So we are the California connection for senior professionals in the space of people strategy. We've been around for over 20 years.
I got into this world in the learning industry in around 2001 when we were first starting to figure out what e-learning was and page-turning stuff on the web. That is completely changed, as most of you know, and the demand for new career models and better learning is now number 2 around the world after org design. It was number 5 last year. The Net Promoter Score of L&D, based on the research we're publishing next month, is -16, which is probably lower than the IRS. And I'm not saying you guys aren't trying really hard and we don't have great people in L&D. The L&D world moved very, very fast and we have not caught up. First of all, every business is in the people business now. Every business is in the IP business. If you want to become digital, you've got to build software. You've got to think about your business model differently. You have to train people. And career models have gotten out of date. Most of 50% of millennials will live over the age of 100. So many of the employees in your company will have careers that will span 60 to 70 years. If you have a 60 to 70 year career, do you know what the average life of a company is on the S&P 500? 15 years. So the idea that you're going to hire somebody from cradle to grave and they're going to work for your company all that period of time, you're lucky if that happens. I mean, in Canada it seems to happen because there's a little bit more longevity in the organizations up there. It's unusual. So you have to design your career model around the idea that people are going to move around and they're going to move out and come back. In fact, in Deloitte they call them boomerangs. One of the most popular hire in Deloitte is a boomerang. Somebody who left Deloitte to work in industry decided they didn't like it and wanted to come back. And so there's been a lot of cultural reinvention going on at Deloitte to be okay with that. Because it used to be if you left, well then you went off the end of a cliff and we don't want to talk to you anymore. So that's changed. We looked at career models in companies in some research we published a couple months ago, and fewer than 1 in 5 have traditional career models today. Now, it's not easy to build a flexible, agile, facilitated talent mobility model in a company. There's a lot of things that work against it. For example, when people do hiring, will hiring managers give internal employees preference, or will they hire from the outside first? If the hiring manager wants to hit his or her numbers, they'll look for the best person wherever they are. And if they can't find an internal candidate, they'll skip that and they'll hire somebody from the outside. But that might not be good for the organization. In fact, I remember a CLO I met many years ago made a comment to me. She said, what I tell managers is that the people working for you don't work for you. They work for me. You're just taking care of them for a while I decide what their next job is going to be. That's the kind of philosophy that companies, and I just popped into my head, I just remember that conversation, but that was sort of a really kind of profound way to think about it, is that your organization thrives by enabling people to move from role to role, even though individual business units may not feel that necessarily. So this is a relatively tricky problem that companies are dealing with. In the area of learning, I will just give you a minute on this to kind of look at this. I wrote an article on this a couple weeks ago that came out, a lot of people have read. Everything that we thought about learning is changed. 70-20-10, kind of came and gone. Traditional e-learning, nobody even wants to use it anymore. The types of, even TED Talks are too long for people. I've heard that. Oh my God, they're 12 minutes long. I don't have time. Or maybe they're 18 minutes, which is like an eternity.
We are offering or Reflective, I should say, is hosting a tour of AT&T Park. It's a cool park, yes. So they said even if you're remotely interested in baseball, then this is then it's a great tour. So for those of you who can join, please stick around. I think it lasts about an hour. So that's the agenda for the day.